This one is called Rostro de Mujer, and I did a painting called Rostro de Mujer, and I tried to adapt the seal screen to this painting. These last 4 or 5 years, I had a close relationship to my mother, which passed away, and I guess the emotions that I felt and the connection to my mom and all these feelings brought for me to do a series of Rostros de Mujer. I've done like 5 paintings right now, and I think sometimes it's more dramatic the things that a woman feels than a man, or they're just simply different. You know, they're mothers, they have kids, they are responsible for a lot of stuff that a man doesn't do, and I just kind of like try to bring it more like in feelings, a spiritual way, energy.
Right.
This face has like a contrast from one side to the other side, which is something that I use in quite a few of my paintings, showing like a person is not just one thing, it's multiple things. And in one side, this Rostro de Mujer has like a tear coming up. Okay? In the other side, it's more like a strong woman.
That's interesting.
So that's the way I made it. Different people make their own interpretation of it. I had a gentleman send me in an email, well, I love that face that you painted because it's winking at me. And I never looked at it that way, but I guess he's putting his own background. I was doing back then a lot of torsos, a lot of ancestral, what I call ancestral figures, guerreros, and that's where Juisa came from. I was utilizing a lot of the archaeological forms that I have drawn in the past and integrated into, abstract forms, kind of like stylizing the forms, into what, well, we can call it a style, but I would call it more like the way I draw and the forms I draw and how I put them together. That makes my style. And back then I was doing that, but slowly I kind of like got through that stage. I didn't want to do any more ancestral figures only. But the energy that process had, I think is like magical. Magical. Drawing the figure and painting the figure has some type of a strange spiritual thing to it that I can bring in, and in a strange way it communicates to whoever's going to see it. I saw that not so long ago. I saw the little portrait of Van Gogh in the Metropolitan, and it's really dramatic.
Absolutely.
And he was alone painting that little painting. Probably people thinking he was crazy, and he was just painting it for himself, but has a lot of energy
Invested in it.
Yeah, and kind of reflects. You can see the painting and you go like, whoa,
Absolutely.
And making artwork like that is meaningful to me. I'm trying to inject all my artwork with some type of a powerful energy that make the piece significant to others, Well, as I recall it, Juisa was one of the, or maybe the only one, cacique women in the island, in Puerto Rico, before, Christopher Columbus discovered the island. And she was one of the caciques, or in charge of certain area, okay, of the island for the Indians.
I see.
So
as a tribute to her.
Leader, type of a tribute, and it's an imaginary figure. This is my invention. Not that she was like that, because I don't think there will be pictures like that.
Right.
But I try to adapt the forms, shape, archaeological forms, and a few different just form from archaeological forms to her face, the shape, plus also adapting it to my style of drawing, and give her that flavor as a, reviving an ancestral image. Okay. Ruben Miranda. I was born in San Juan, Puerto Rico. studied my undergraduate studies at the University of Puerto Rico. It was a BA in education, art education. And I did silk screening in there too. In like a work-study program. I did some silk screening, so I'm familiar with it. I did a lot of printmaking, litho, etching, and then in my final classes in art, I did a lot of painting, which got me more excited into the world of art.
Great.
My graduate studies, I went to live in Florida, and I did them at the Florida State University in Tallahassee. About 2 years, I finished a master's degree in fine arts. Then I've been working as either printmaker or a graphic designer until now. I'm a graphic designer now for the Dallas Morning News.
You're based in Dallas right now?
Yeah, I live in Grapevine, Texas, which is kind of like in between Dallas and Fort Worth.
Cool.
Right.
Wonderful.
Right. Well, at the university level, I studied, drawing, and traditional way of drawing the human figure was traditional studies in art. I kind of make a choice. I make a choice back then of where my artwork will be more figurative than abstract. Even though as a student, we try different things. So I do work on abstractions here and there, and try to abstract the human figure into different, levels or planes, or interact the human figure with the landscape and so forth. Most of my teachers through my studies have been abstract painters. I mean, the ones that are more noticeable, the more famous, have been abstract. Like in Puerto Rico, Luis Hernandez Cruz.
Okay.
And back here in the States, Trevor Bell, which he's English, but they've lived in the United States for a long time. Now, in terms of painting the human figure, probably Felix Bonilla Norat would be the one who really, he was trained more like in an impressionist way, and famous in Puerto Rico, but not out of the island. I don't think he's that famous. He already passed, but that he would be a big influence, in the way I manage the colors, blend the colors, etc. Well, through my studies, all these Cubism, Futurism was big time in I would say the 70s. I mean, those are the books where the content was mainly on these things. Even though in the States, probably abstract expressionism was stronger.
Right.
But, the human figure, like I told you before, Cubism in general, Picasso, Magritte,
you said Duchamp.
Marcel Duchamp.
The new descending.
The new descending the circus was really dramatic to me. And the futurists in general, the way they treat the color, the way they blend and try to make figures full of energy all through the canvas.
I definitely see that in your work. That energy is constantly there, even though it's a static figure painting, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And if you look at, I try to keep, my line work is, use a lot of circular or pointy forms.
That's interesting.
I try to, that was a conscientious choice, that keeps the eye excited, it keeps it moving through the canvas or the piece of wood that I'm working on. And one of the choices I made is try to keep everything in high contrast, if I can.
That's interesting, okay.
Unless the piece of artwork, speaks to me and tells me, I'm gonna have to be like this. But I try to work everything in high contrast because it's more dramatic, simple as that. In life, I see contrast in nature, and it's more exciting to me. So that was a choice, and I think I treat all of them the same, even if it's black and white. The drama between the black and the white, and the negative space and the positive space.
It's definitely there.
Which I use a lot also in graphic design. You have to use the balancing forms, how comfortable I feel with the picture I'm going to present, to whoever's going to see it. You know, the form, the shape, how it's arranged in the canvas. All of those, you know, I try to analyze it well, and the contrast is a very important part of it. The silk screen is so hard edge, you know, unless I would come up with something airbrush type or a lot of stippling, it would have been hard for me to approach this.
Right.
And just by knowing maybe that I knew silk screening already, what I should bring to it, and the way that certain colors blend to the other colors, you know,
right.
the transparency of it, and of course as each stage come, of course the print master here is amazing, so he's helping me out a lot on this.
Wonderful.
But as each color comes up, I can see what I need to adapt to the next color registration, and since it's not a brush stroke that blends from one color to the other one, maybe I need to do some stippling. So,
I see.
So it's a blending of techniques, thicker lines, shorter lines, big dots, smaller dots. In the other print that I did, Juisa, I blended several techniques, cross hatching. You know, there are other techniques that I could use, you know, with sponge and everything that can give me a shade.
Right.
But, you know, I just chose those because I think they add that better to this one, the one we're doing now.
Right.
I think it's great. I think it's magnificent. I mean, the collection that you guys have here is great.
Thank you.
I think people should study it as a collective thing for, you know, art in America.
Yes.
And the meaning, not only the meaning to a Hispanic culture, but meaning in general to art in America. I mean, I really think it's really powerful. There's a lot of artists here.
I agree.
And some of them more famous than others, you know. Yeah.
Right.
But it's really a strong collection. It's magnificent. I mean, the print masters are great. You guys know a lot. You have a lot of knowledge about the process and everything, and the prints are fantastic. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You guys invited me here, and
Wonderful.
the accommodations are great. It's fine for me, and the place is great.
I'm glad to hear.
And
you're
we're in
happy.
Austin, which is great.
Yeah, that's a great.
Well, you know,
Glad.
thank you very much for bringing me in this year. I really appreciate it. And
Absolutely.
Sam, he's a great guy. I know he's gone through a lot to get this project going for a long time. And, it's too bad I don't live closer to Austin, that I could maybe help you guys more. But, well, I guess now with computers, you know, if I can help you guys with anything, just let me know.
Oh, you've done more than enough contributing your talent to the project. Okay, great. Well, I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.